Today, Nvidia is set to release a full new lineup of GPUs with multiple cards. This is really wild. But before I get to that, performance numbers on Intel's next gen and new Nvidia Tech helps the VRAM issue. Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. But first, have you seen an MSRP lately? No, seriously, have you? I'm thinking about putting it on milk cartons next. But while the real MSRP is still missing in action, you can at least wear one proudly with the mythical MSRP t-shirt. Featuring a unicorn so rare, scalpers have started bidding on the shirt. It's part beast, part GPU, and all wishful thinking. With RGB dreams in its eyes and a price tag that says MSRP because let's be honest, that acronym only exists in the wild on this shirt. So yeah, forget waiting for a price drop, get yours today at meldstore.com because MSRP may be a myth, but this shirt is very real. And don't forget to check out the FTX flame tracing shirt at meldstore.com as well. Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, I've talked about Intel's next generation Nova Lake CPUs a couple times now, but we finally have info on performance and some confirmation on specs. Don't forget that these are set to go all the way up to a whopping 52 cores, so we're talking some monster CPUs here. Either way, as you can see, we have a piece from a slide that was shared on X, and I have to say that it really seems like the real deal because video cards actually had to retract the source. Usually when this happens, it's because it's real and they don't want to get in trouble. They just intended for a few people to see, not a huge audience. Either way, as you can see on the slide, it says ultimate performance and efficiency. Leadership, gaming, performance. And given the fact that it says gaming performance here, clearly this is Nova Lake that's set to be for the consumer market. And as they state here, given the fact that it says leadership in gaming performance, that implies that it could actually have an edge over AMD's Ryzen 9000 X3D chips. Maybe this is the ones that also include similar tech to X3D like I recently went over that Intel is clearly working on. Either way, as you can see, it says 1.1 times higher single-threaded performance. Now, we don't know if this is comparing it to Ryzen 9000 X3D, but likely this is a comparison to the Core Ultra 200 series. They're obviously their current gen parts. And I will say with only a 10% higher single-threaded performance, I don't really see how it could beat the 9000 X3D parts unless we're talking something added to it like a ton more cache. Either way though, that's not the really interesting part. We're also talking 1.6 times multi-threaded performance. So a 60% performance boost in multi-threaded performance. Basically, yeah, this is really looking like a monster of a CPU series. Just a huge boost that we almost never see anymore when it comes to CPUs from one generation to the next. This very well could end up beating, even with AMD set to release more core CPUs with their 10,000 series of CPUs or whatever they end up being called, this still could in fact beat it. Not only that, but don't forget, I also stated that this confirms something, and as you can see, it's right here, it says new low power island. Meaning we are likely talking those new low power cores that have been leaked with these specs, 16 performance cores, 32 efficiency cores, and 4 low power cores. And of course, the low power cores go across every CPU, so it makes perfect sense why this would be in a slide like this. Basically, given the multi-threaded performance boost as well as this new low power island, it is definitely looking like the leaks were spot on. And next up for today, DLSS 4 is officially out of beta. Of course, that's not exactly all that exciting, but with the full release, it comes with something that very much is. If you remember, DLSS 4 launched with a brand new AI model called the Transformer model, and this brought improved image quality as well as better performance. But it also came with one issue. it requires quite a bit more memory than the older convolutional neural network or CNN model. And because of that, the 50 series GPUs that are strapped for memory could go over the top when using that model. Luckily, as you can see right down here, it says Nvidia has also optimized VRAM usage in its latest DLSS SDK release. It says the updated memory footprint brings its overall memory impact closer to that of the older CNN model. Previously, the DLSS transformer model consumed nearly twice as much memory as a CNN model it replaces. Still, with Nvidia's latest VRAM optimizations, the transformer model now consumes just 40% more memory than the CNN model. Of course, that's still quite a bit more memory, but just to kind of show you the difference we're talking about here. So this is the older transformer model, and this is the new one, and you can see at 1080p, it goes from 106.9 megabytes to 85.77. 1440p, we're looking at 181 to 143. 4K, 387 to 307. So clearly, this isn't, in the scheme of things, when we're talking 10 gigabytes or anything like that, this isn't that much of a difference, but when you're very much on that edge, it absolutely could make that difference. Still, you will notice that it is more than the CNN model, but obviously every little bit counts. And lastly for today, Nvidia is scrambling to release an entirely new lineup of GPUs to better compete with AMD's newest offerings, and it looks like they're set to release even more cards than we originally thought. As you can see right here, these originally come from the very well-known leaker Kopite7Kimi, who's absolutely gotten a ton of Nvidia leaks right in the past. This is definitely someone who knows a lot of the behind-the-scenes info. And according to him, you can see that we have the RTX 5070 Super. So yes, we are talking about the Super series of GPUs, which of course Nvidia was planning anyway, but they almost certainly weren't planning to release it anywhere near as soon as they are now. And there are multiple cards to cover. I have gone over the 5080 Super in the past, but I'll go over that again. Either way, starting things off, like I said, we're looking at the RTX 5070 Super, and this one is based on the GB205-400 GPU, and it comes with 6400 CUDA cores. And if you're pretty familiar with the regular RTX 5070, you'll likely notice that that is a little bit more cores. Nothing big, I think it's something like a 4% increase, so this isn't massive or anything like that. The really big difference when it comes to going from the 5070 to 5070 Super is the fact that we're looking at 18 gigabytes of GDDR7. That's of course a very big boost from the regular 5070's 12 gigabytes. Unfortunately, it does take more wattage at 275 watts. And believe it or not, we are not stopping there because according to this, there's also a 5070 Ti Super. This one is based on the GB203-350 GPU, and it comes with 8,960 CUDA cores. And of course, this one is exactly the same as the regular 5070 Ti. But what's different is the fact that it comes with a whopping 24 gigabytes of GDDR7. And it comes with more wattage pool. To kind of show you the differences a little bit better here, we have this from video cards, and you can see that, of course, the 5070 Ti Super as well as the 5080 Super come with the same amount of cores versus their non-super counterpart, while the 5070 Super comes with slightly more. But the really big boost across the board here is, of course, memory. This is obviously Nvidia trying to do something to please people who want more memory, which is obviously quite a bit of people because memory has seriously become a major tension among gamers. But the sort of annoying part, other than say the 5070, 12 gigabytes you can run out of, but really the main thing people complain about is of course those 8 gigabyte GPUs, and at least for now Nvidia isn't doing anything about those. Still, it will be interesting to see what kind of performance boost we can get from more memory out of these other GPUs. Time, as always, will tell. So while that does it for today, are you pumped for Nvidia's upcoming super cards, or is it not enough? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And as always, have a great day.